Hello, everyone. Another pop-up live on a Thursday, and I know a lot of you guys that might end up tuning in are not expecting me to go live today, but I kind of been thinking we filmed the podcast for the PPP, the Profit Playbook, yesterday, or actually this morning, and I figured that there's a lot of good stuff that we were talking about, and we have a surprise for you guys. If you tune in tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 Eastern, you'll be hopefully greeted with a pleasant development with the channel. And that's kind of as far as I'll go with that. But, there's a lot of folks out there are having some problems with sales. And for me, it's pretty good. I'm not having any issues with sales. But I thought that, it would be a good little just pop up live to see how you guys are doing. Maybe take your questions, see if there's any ideas that we can kind of figure out with your store. I can tell you this, that as we get into the summer, the opportunities aren't going to get any easier. Well, it just historically, sales on the platform on eBay tend to get slower for many categories. I'm not going to say all. I'm not going to say every category. I'm not going to say that it's going to be slow sales for everyone. For me, sales were great all through the summer last year, and we're sort of on par with what we did last year. And I don't really see that changing. And the big reason for that is we're really focused on selling things that people really need, regardless of the time of year, and or things that are seasonal. So I think that's the first starting point and that's for us what's really worked well. That's what brought us from struggling to really having success, having money in the bank, being able to do things that we really couldn't even think about doing 2 years ago. For instance, Jen and I are, after we're done with this live, we have a late night date. We're gonna go for dinner, and I just shelled out almost $500 for tickets to Cirque du Soleil. So we're going to go do that tonight and just have a good time and get away. She's going to go to her family's house this weekend for Mother's Day. And we really haven't had, from the time I left on my little vacation to her going tomorrow, we really haven't had a whole lot of time to just get away from everything. So I can tell you that if we were struggling with sales, we wouldn't be doing this. And, even with that said, my YouTube revenue is down I'd say about half, not quite half, from what I was at 2 years ago. And I was struggling 2 years ago, where we actually were about a year and a half ago, when we were actually driving for Uber Eats and stuff like that, just to supplement our lack of sales. And so we found a way to navigate through all the issues with eBay, and it just wasn't working with the stuff we were selling. And that's the first place to look, but there's much more than that. There's things you can do to your store to really get it going. I'm confident in that, and everyone has a different situation. So what I'm able to do for my store may not work for you, but I promise you, in most cases, whether it's bundling your items that you currently have, maybe going through your listings that you have, maybe weeding out the listings that are just dragging your store down. That could be it as well. And I think that's painful for a lot of people, because there's so much money that you have and time that you have invested in those items, that the idea of pulling some of these items off of your store to help boost the sell-through rate of the remaining good things you have is hard to do. But that is yet another way to do it. So I just want to do this for about 45 minutes or so, 45 minutes to an hour. But just to kind of touch base with you guys, and really just to get a pulse of how sales are going for you guys. I talked to Bearded Picker today when we did our podcast. I talked to different resellers. You guys know Josh Galt. We talked to him. Sales are kind of falling off for some people, and it did the same thing last year for some. And my goal is to try to help you guys in any way I can. Sometimes people reach out to me, hey, check out my store. I'll give advice to the best of my ability based on what I see, not really privy to things that I can't see, like account health issues, which also can be hurting your sales. But there's got to be a way, and what kind of got me thinking about talking about this topic was looking at the listings quality report on eBay. And some people have access to it, some people don't. I actually did a video last night, and it was going to go out this morning, but the video quality on my end was so bad, and it's probably due to my internet, that I have to probably replace because they've been giving me problems lately. But it was so bad. The content was good, but the quality was so bad I just couldn't launch it. I couldn't put it out there for you guys. But there's a lot of good stuff in that listings quality report that can, if you follow eBay's advice, can get you on track. I'm certain of it. So let's see who we have. I don't really count on having a whole lot of people here today, but the fact that you guys, I see like there's 43 people watching already. The fact that you guys see the notification and boom, you guys watch is pretty awesome, because there's probably a dozen other things that you could be doing right now. So let's see who we have. Henri Squaw says, howdy, thanks for being here. We have Major Win says, hey, John, hope you're all having a great evening. Pretty good. You're gearing up for a great evening. Was getting a lot of stuff done today. Jenna picked up some merchandise for me while I was recording the podcast with Bearded Picker. And I was surprised by that, because that was one of my chores I was supposed to be doing. And then I get off the podcast and she's not even here. I'm like, well, what's going on? And I put one and one together. She went to pick up my merchandise for me. So we work as a team. Sometimes I'm just surprised. She takes a lot of initiative that I don't expect her to take. And it surprises me sometimes. So we're going to go and have a good night tonight. Jennifer Hoffman says, new message as of today on my second store shows me same item as I'm selling, and says only buy from an experienced seller with more feedback. Now, is that on your listing? Shows me same item as I'm selling and says buy from an experienced seller with more feedback. That's interesting. I'm kind of curious where you're seeing that. So obviously it's not your listing that's showing, but eBay is trying to coerce your buyers into buying from another seller. That's very interesting. You would think, in light of this whole best match, I call it a fiasco because it's kind of what it is. I mean, it's something, obviously it's designed, it's not a glitch. It's something that eBay is programmed in to give your buyer another option or you another option as a seller to prevent a cancellation from happening, which means you don't get paid, nor does eBay get paid on that sale. But the way they're doing it, they're creating the problem, and then they're trying to fix the problem that they're creating by throwing a Band-Aid on it, instead of fixing the problem by removing the duplicate listings. There's no need for that same item, whatever it is. If they buy a red shirt that's like a Nike polo, why show all the other Nike red polos for them to say, I like that one better? And then here we go. Here's the cancellation request. And now, eBay gives you the option to say, hey, wait, let's coerce them with a lower price. So the buyer can say, okay, I'll keep it for 35 and not 50. And now you have to make a decision. Is it worth, making this, saving the sale so that I don't lose out on the sale, that type of thing. And I just think it just complicates things. And it's just not a good buying experience for the buyer. I think that confusion, the initial confusion that it causes by showing that other competitor's item, is just not what we want to see as sellers. We have Kevin Hawthorne says, good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Glad to see you, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. Desi Rebecca Flippin says, hello. Well, hello to you. Major Win says, sounds like a blast. Yeah, we've seen all the different Cirque du Soleils in town, except O. And O is the one at Bellagio, and it's always been the one that's the most expensive because it's the one with the water and all that. And yeah, it's been like, no, I don't want to pay $200 a ticket plus fees. But in light of how well we've been doing lately, and I did win a lot of money when I was out and about in Arizona, I figure the plan at that time was, what, let's take Jen out, do something nice. I told her, go and check out shows if there's any show you want to see. She's like, no, there's anything I want to see. And I'm like, okay, well, what about O? And she thought we already saw it, and we haven't. So it's one of those things we want to do. certain things, I guess, are once in a lifetime things. It's not like we're going to go there again. This is kind of a once in a lifetime. I think with the shows in Vegas, once you've seen the first one, you're not going to go back. But even though sometimes these shows are so good that people go and see it multiple times, I just want to see it once. Gem Flipper says hello or hi. Thanks for being here, Gem Flipper. Resolutions says greetings from Texas. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Semper Fi, I will do video, but turned one scale repeat buyer $50 sale. I will do video, but turned one sale into repeat buyer $50 sale. Well, hey, anything you can do to get a sale and nothing to shake a stick at there. $50, I'll take it. Mike Seller says, hi, John. Thanks for being here, Mike. Appreciate you. Noah Design Ken says, I'm only here in spirit. Well, great to see you again, Ken. Yeah, if you can get future repeat customers, that's great. I don't really jockey for them because I realize because I'm not a niche seller, I might not have the same product that they bought from me, 2 months ago. So they come back to my store looking for, something similar. I probably won't have it again. And that's the drawback of an everything seller. You're really, even though you might have people watching your store and repeat buyers, generally it doesn't work as well as if you are a niche seller. Mr. Sadie says eBay version of the buy box backwards as usual. Yep. And I guess we could bellyache about it, right? We just got to realize that it's here to stay. And this is what eBay wants to do. I think it's a desperation play in that we know that eBay has been losing buyers. They've been losing revenue. You can't, when you get a cancellation, eBay loses. They could be canceling because they found it on Mercari or Poshmark, not necessarily eBay. And eBay is doing everything they can to save the sale. eBay has all the data. They know how many of these buyers request a cancellation and don't buy that same item on eBay. I'm sure it's a pretty large number. And I think in their eyes, something's better than nothing. But that something means it's kind of squeezing the sellers even more. So we're making less on that item. And eBay really doesn't care. They want what as much as they can get, even if it means you're making next to nothing on the item. And that's just the way it is. The Crazy Card says, man, what happened to the woman? Ain't nobody want to stare at you. Well, you can always close your eyes and listen to this sweet voice. I'm just kidding by the way. But no, she's getting ready. Takes her usually a solid couple hours to get ready. And then we're going to go to dinner and then the show. So she is not going to be here tomorrow, just to give you a heads up. She's going to be on the road to California to go visit her sister and her mom for the weekend and have a good time. So I figure since I was gone and, she wants to go, turnabout's fair play. She's welcome to go. JRKR says, hi, Major Win. Well, hello, GRKR. The woman is on strike. She wants higher beverage wages. Oh, man. Let's see. RK Treasure Center says hello. Thanks for being here. CM Retro Gaming, word up. And we have Grandma Mary's Attic says happy Thursday, FAA fam. And Larry Wayout says hi, John and chat. Thanks for being here, Larry. I appreciate it. I heard you went to Nashville and did some thrifting with Beard. How did that turn out? Maya says hello. Thanks for being here, Maya. And Grandma Mary's Attic is wishing Jenna safe travels. Yeah, she'll be fine. So yeah, just popped up here to, see what you guys are dealing with. I mean, who is doing well with sales and who's not? And if you're not, I mean, this would be maybe a good opportunity to kind of brainstorm indirectly through chat and just to try to see collectively as a group what we can do. And I S key. So maybe you want to unplug your keyboard there. So I have 66 people watching, and I got to tell you, while I'm waiting for some comments here, looking at the listing quality report. And at first when I saw this, I'm like, yeah, okay, there's a lot of noise. But if you really think about it, eBay is not going to just tell us, okay, we want you to do these things and not reward you for doing these things. So for me, it's looking at the top 10 categories that I have live listings in. That's how the report works. And you can break it down into tabs so that you can see there's like a funnel. And this funnel shows your impressions in eBay search. And maybe I can try to show you a little screen of what I'm seeing here. So I'll try to present it for you here so that maybe we can kind of go over what I was trying to make a video on last night that didn't turn out so hot. So here we go. I'll share that. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. So there's a buyer funnel. So now I have this on my, let me go to my golf clubs, because my golf clubs is where I was really getting a lot of good information. So there's a buyer funnel here, and it starts off with the impressions. So you have a wide range of buyers who happen to see your listings when they do a search on eBay. And now when they click into your listing, now that kind of lessens the number of folks that you're dealing with. You have a lot fewer clicks into your listing than you do page views. So that sort of shrinks the funnel a little bit. And then your sales conversion is when those people actually decide, you know what, this is the item I'm looking for and I want to buy it. So now in this, it's telling me impressions in eBay search. Now this is just for the category of golf clubs, which I am ranked. Looks like I am ranked, where'd it go? 567th out of 24,000 sellers, which isn't great. My price range is anywhere from $1 to 69. I can assure you my lowest price club is over $10. And impressions in eBay search, my impressions have gone up by 48 places, 203rd in impressions. Now, as far as my rank with click-through, I am up 166 spots to 5,412 when it comes to the number of people who click through on my item. So now, right then and there, I'm already seeing that, well, I was ranked really high in impressions. I'm getting a lot of good impressions. That's probably due to the fact that I'm constantly using promoted listing standard and I'm using higher rates. So that's probably why I have a lot more impressions. But what concerns me is how come I'm not converting those over to a higher ranking in click-through to get those people to see my listings. Once they're into my listing, I'm 1,332 rank, and I'm up 307 ranking points as compared to the last report. It's saying that there's nothing I need to do for those last two things, even though I'm more alarmed about the lack of click-through as compared to my peers. And it's saying, though, I can improve on my listings. It says the top 10% of listings shown in eBay search is 8 photos in my listing, and the bottom 10 of listings shown in eBay search is 6.5. So that right there, and I'm at 8.1 in photos. So, and I think there's a couple listings where I only have like 7 or 6. So if you see down here, it's saying that on this listing I have 7, this one I have 6, and it's in red. And it's telling me, look, we want you to have at least 8 photos in these listings. So what do you think if the bottom 10% are at 6.5 listing photos in the listing or less? Well, that should tell you right then and there the importance that eBay is placing on photos. And I think what happens is, you know, a lot of people will look at some of these reports and go, we'll look at our overview and go, yeah, you know, it wants me to fix some item specifics, but we kind of ignore it. We watch these videos, you watch my videos, you watch other videos, and we tell you, yeah, try this, try that. But all the time, we're ignoring reports like this. We're ignoring little pieces of data that all we got to do is go in and fix these listings. And that in itself, eBay's telling you, they want you to do these things. And by doing it, it should help your rank. There's a number of different things that eBay will recommend in these. For me, it's been mostly photos. It wants me to have at least 8 to 9 photos in a lot of listings. And I know that seems like a lot of extra mundane work, but you can do different angles. You can do zooms. Do model numbers, whatever layout you can do. Check out what your competition's doing. How are they laying their photos out? If eBay is giving them the traffic, they're giving them the rank, the search rank, there's got to be something they're doing to get those sales. And so hopefully you guys can access this report. My second account, it's not coming up for me. So I think for some sellers, you can't even see this report. This data is actually as of the 27th of April. So it tells me that it's giving me an old report. It's supposed to be updated every 2 days according to eBay. And it tells me that they're working on it. They initially took it away for a while. They brought it back, and I think they're working on it to get it to where maybe they place all the reasons and not just photos or high SNAD rates and all that stuff, which is coming up in my report. So want to see what you guys are saying in response to that. Mr. Sadie says, you think this will affect used collectible markets at all since there can be subtle differences in product? I think that's a big problem. First of all, we don't even know if there is another item that the buyer's purchasing. Maybe they see a lower price. They decide to, say, well, I think I'm going to cancel to buy that. But they haven't even looked at the listing. We have a stranger here that's
hi, everybody.
So they want to know where you're at.
I'm packing my bag because I'm out of here.
She's out of here, right?
I'm leaving. Leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, she'll be back on Monday.
Did you tell them what we're doing tonight?
Yep. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So.
Love you guys. I'll see you Monday.
So Larry, that's a big problem. You have let's say you have two used items. They're the very same item. You've taken the time to show photos of blemishes with that item. You've taken the time to discuss or to mention in your item condition and your item description, this item has this blemish, it has that blemish. So the buyer knows what they're getting. This other item's used, but it's banged to hell, right? It's $15 cheaper. Are you telling me that eBay expects you to honor the price for an item that is worse condition than the one you're selling? It doesn't seem right to me. And I know a lot of people are taking a firm stance just from the comments. In the video I made a couple days ago, it's gone nuts. But there's a lot of people that are adamant about, you know what? I am not going to budge at all. I'm not going to even offer that. They want to cancel, they can cancel. They want to go with the worst condition item at the lower price point. You know what? That's on them. Hopefully they read that they're getting a worse condition item, but that's going to be between them and that new seller at that point. Henri Squaw says, sales have been good on Poshmark. I'm slowly transferring my inventory to Poshmark. And I don't see why. I mean, look, the whole discussion that I brought up in the video was really to kind of create awareness. We need to know the roadblocks that we're dealing with. We need to know and not be surprised that when we get a cancellation, this is going to be an option that's presented to us. And it's up to each and every seller to determine if this is something they want to entertain or not. If you don't want to entertain it, it's just like the option's not there. You don't have to take a lower price. Just accept the cancellation and move on. And I think in eBay's eyes, they're giving us another option, but it's just creating more confusion as far as I'm concerned. But as a seller, we need to know all these things that are happening with our store and with our potential customers, so we are aware of these things. And I think eBay is still a great platform to sell on. It's not affecting my sales in any way, shape, or form. The cancellation rate you get maybe once or twice a week, we'll get a cancellation out of all the sales we make. So I didn't have an option to save the sale then. I just went ahead and put the cancellation through. Now I can evaluate. I can only see it as a positive from this standpoint. This item's been on my shelf forever. It's finally sold. Do I want to put it back on my shelf and continue waiting? Am I still able to make a profit by giving them the lower price? Yeah, I don't like it. It sucks. Or, you just simply move on from the transaction. I have another option, and it gives me another way to move my merchandise if I want to move it that bad. Because for me, it's about the churn. For some people, it's like, I want top dollar for everything I sell, and I'm not going to budge off of it until I get what I'm looking for. And that's fine. That's the mindset and the business model that you have taken on. For me, it's about, I've spent $2 on this item. Okay. And so I want to get that $2 back as soon as I can, plus whatever profit I can get, so I can buy more of those items and build my store. And it's sort of a continuous cycle. But if you have that $2 wrapped up in an item that's sitting on your shelf for months upon months upon months, it's never going to earn money for you until it finally sells. And a fast churning item can sell 10 to 20 times over plus profit before that one item sells. And I think it is something that everyone should really be open-minded to, depending on the particular item that's being canceled in this particular case. Grandma Mary's Attic says slow sales, drop promotions 8% to 5%. Had 2 returns. One didn't like it, one wrong size. And, you know, besides the promoted rate you're using, those are going to happen anyway. Whether it's 8%, 5%, you're going to have someone that didn't like it. You're also going to have someone that, you know, got the wrong size. It happens. I would say you want to play around with the promoted rates. For one item, a promoted rate of 8% is going to work better than for another. You know, it might be just as effective to have 5% on an item than 8%. Sometimes you over promote on an item and you're going to make the sale anyway, and you're kind of just giving away money, that type of thing. So you want to evaluate, find the sweet spot. And one bit of advice I've had for people for quite some time is, look, promote at the minimum. I'd like to say 2.1%. Get ahead, a little bit ahead of the crowd, but promote that item at a minimum. Let it go for a couple weeks. If it still hasn't sold, when you do your end item sell similar process, if you have a process like that, bump it up a few points, 2 to 3 points. Make it 5.1%. And if it goes another 2 to 3 weeks, bump it up even more. You know, and I think the more you will end up promoting the item, the more you'll be bumping it. Like, I have a high rank in impressions, and that's because I am very aggressive with the promoted listings, advanced, or not advanced, but standard, because I have so much room. I'm buying items for $2 to $10 that I'm selling for $50 to $150 to $200. I have so much room to do a lot of things and still make a good profit that I'm willing to be very, very aggressive. Bailey Bank says, I have over 500 items. I list at least 5 items daily. I've been sending offers and reducing prices, but my sales are not what I would like. Any suggestions? So you have 500 items. I think that's okay. I list at least 5 items daily. Okay. Been sending offers and reducing prices, but my sales are not what I would like. You can do bundles. So if you have, let's say, multiples of the same type of item, you can bundle them together into one fixed price. Yes, you're not going to get what you were going to get if you sold them individually. You're going to have to price them at a lower price point when you do a bundle. That's one way to do it. But that is such a difficult question to answer, because you could have, you know, a bunch of antique items, right? You wouldn't bundle those together. You can have shoes. One thing that, say, Tommy Bernard, I haven't seen him in a while, but one thing that Tommy Bernard showed me, confirmed to me that works, is he has a lot of different shoes, and some of them aren't in the greatest of condition. He'll lot the same size up, like maybe 2 or 3 pairs, do very minimal cleaning on the shoes instead of a full deep clean on the shoes. And he'll say, we're selling them with these problems, may have missing insoles, or just could be kind of banged up. And he was able to move those items, usually 2 to 3 pairs for the price of a really good pair. And people are willing to buy multiples like that. So I would explore that. But I think a lot of people, you know, maybe you're willing to put in the work, but a lot of people aren't willing to put in the work. And putting in the work is finding out 2 things. A, does the item sell for anyone? So look up that item in your store that you think, you know what, this should have sold by now. Look it up in the 90-day search. And, you know, that's the solds. Also, check out TerraPeak. If you have a store, go into TerraPeak on eBay and go back 2 years. Find out, how's it trending? Is it selling a lot less than it used to? And if it is selling for other people recently, go into those listings and see, how does their listing differ from yours? Do they have more photos? I think eBay is pretty big on that. Find a way to get more photos in your listing. How does your title look? Do you have unnecessary keywords in the first 5 words of your title? Try to emulate those listings. There's nothing wrong with copying a title if it's working for someone else. So a lot of people are really willing to take the extra time to improve upon a title or a listing once they've launched it. They're on to the next listings. They're like, list it and forget it. But that is not the right mentality unless you really have hot stuff that are just selling regardless. At least he can spell more than one letter, I guess. Yeah. Jennifer Hoffman says 27 years, top rated plus seller on main store. First time ever discouraged. Need hope. Sales are out there, Jennifer. Sales are out there. But I think a lot of people just don't know what to do. You know, they list the items and they're like, now what? Why am I not getting sales? But there's so many things that we can do as sellers. And it's like we have to be detectives. We have to figure out, why do people buy other items that are very similar to mine, but not mine? And so if the answer to question 1 is this item even selling? If it's no, then you know you have a dead item. Okay. If it's selling maybe once or twice in the last 90 days and there's 100 different sellers on that item, you're going to have, you and another 88 of those sellers are going to have a hard time selling that item in the next 90 days. And you need to do something to really separate yourself from that pack. That's a lot of work, and it still may not get the sale. So you want to find items that have low competition, and you want to find items that have high sale through rate, or meaning a lot of sales in the last 90 days, to really get your store going. And also get rid of the stuff that's not selling, that's been sitting there for more than 3, 4, 5 months. I'm telling you, dead items in your store will bring down the rest of your store. I've seen it firsthand. Other people have made that change, and it has helped their sell-through rate for their store tremendously. Morty the One says, USPS has lost 3 of my packages this year so far. Lucky my buyers have been pretty good. Not a lot of sales, but okay, I guess. You're right. USPS has been really messing up deliveries lately. And I don't know. Someone said there was a facility at one of the hubs somewhere that's screwing things up pretty bad. And that very well may be the case. I just shipped a golf club from Vegas to Florida, and it's been since the 27th of April. They should have received it by now. And they're saying, hey, you know, last activity shows that it was en route on the 3rd of May. And here we are on the 9th. You know, he wanted me to file a claim. I said, well, it's a little too soon for that, but you can file I call it a tracer. There's probably another word for it. It's the step before filing a claim with USPS. And it usually gets the item back into the system. I don't know how or why, but it works that way. And also, I told them, you know, in this particular case, if it's not here by this weekend, open up an item not received. Let's run the process through eBay. And then I'll just simply give them their money back if it doesn't arrive. And I've seen where items don't arrive for like 3 or 4 weeks, and you're kind of put in a bad spot as a seller. And it really does stink. I love the support from the community here. We have Spam Banshee and Primo Chemo telling Jennifer Hoffman to hang in there, keep your head up. Don't be focused on individual days. Let's focus on how did you do this month versus last month. That's the best way to kind of look at the bigger picture. Major Win says, Jennifer, we all got you. You're not alone, and we're in it to win it together. And, you know, Jennifer, you're welcome to send me an email at flippin8easy2020@gmail.com. If you want to let me know what your store is, I'll be glad to look at it. I'll look at some items that pop up as, yeah, this might have sold, should have sold by now, to see, you know, what recommendations that I can make for you. I'm glad to help in that way. I've done it before, and I don't charge for it, so you're welcome to do it. Roger Wildwood says, as a seller, I would like to see eBay add a feature that allows a buyer to add multiple items to a cart, and they can make an offer for the whole list. The more they buy, the more discount I can do. I'd like to see that too. And you'd think that eBay would create a magical innovation to have something like that. I don't know why they haven't developed that idea, but it seems like that would work for a lot of folks. Tommy Z says, don't quit your day job. Well, that is good overall advice for resellers if you're struggling and maybe you have a day job. Now, hopefully that's not me. Don't quit my day job, because I am taking a break out of my day job to do this live stream. But for anyone who's thinking about, you know what, I want to do this full time and I don't want to work for the man anymore. Well, if your sales are slow, it ain't going to get any better by just going full time. There's not a magical switch that improves things for you if you're part-time and struggling and because I'm full-time, things are going to be better. I would only make that move if you're doing great with what you're sourcing as part-time, and simply the extra time that you're able to put in to whatever you're selling and listing is going to replace the extra income or the income that you're used to getting. Maya says, I didn't know they brought the listing quality report back. I thought they got rid of it. They did bring it back. I know that Biff and Tommy were talking about it a couple of weeks ago. It piqued my interest. And they haven't said anything. Surprise, surprise. eBay not being transparent with us. Again, I think that's a very, very good and useful tool. Anytime eBay can give you specific information about your items and what you can do differently to improve your ranking against your peers, I think it's great information. And I am hopeful that they can get these updated, because I'm looking at one from the 27th, and I'm sure some of these clubs have already sold. So it's, when I click on them, I can't even find the listing. So for me, it's just useless information, but it does give me an idea of what eBay is focusing on. Biff says, my 30-day is down 12%. I had a very long run in the green going back to last year, though. Listing quality report is still stuck on 427 for me. And on some accounts, like my other one, it's not even showing. There's a big blue banner saying that it's not available. So don't know what the holdup is or the hangup is. Maybe they found that there's an error in the report, or maybe they're adding more information. So let's kind of sit tight. But even then, even if you're new to the report, checking it out to see what was my store looking like to eBay on 427. And now you can, you know what? I probably can add more photos to my listings. It's telling me I needed, X amount more to be where the average is. Well, do that. Mike says, hello, I've been selling lower priced items this month so far. My daily ASP, I'm sure you meant to say, is down from 550 to 450, hoping to get it up by end of month. And you might be more my daily average. Okay, now your ASP, your daily average is down from 550 to 450. It's going to happen. You're going to have up months, you're going to have down months. For some people last year, April hit them pretty hard. And I was asking Josh Galt, I talk to him all the time. I was asking him if the slowdown that he had in April of last year was a lot like what's going on this year. He said it's not. He said it was worse last year, but I think there's something there. Why is it that for some sellers, April and May is like when it starts to happen, and for others, it's not until the summertime? CM Retro Gaming says, I agree. Well, I hope you agree with something I said. I don't know exactly what it was, but I'm glad you agree. Ken says the listing report is a novelty read. 8 out of 10 people are not going to read that. And that is a fact of life. Too many numbers, graph geek stuff puts some people off, which I understand. For people who have done reselling for a hot minute and it's supporting your livelihood successfully, knows going too deep into geeky analytical rabbit hole doesn't help. But it can help. I think it kind of goes into what Bearded Picker was talking about the other day on his channel. How bad do you want it? I mean, are you writing it in? Are you just doing the basics and winging it? And this is really for anybody out there who's watching. Really ask yourself, are you really doing everything you can to improve your situation on the platform? A lot of us will, eBay is the first one that gets our blame when things happen, right? Oh, this glitch happened. I didn't get sales this day. It must be because of the glitch. or this thing happened and my sales tanked. I got this email and my sales tanked. What about looking at going through everything that you can do as a business owner, digging into the numbers, digging into these reports, and seeing what eBay thinks about your listings? Because if eBay is willing to put a report like this full of all kinds of data breaking down all your listings within your top 10 categories, I mean, there's got to be a reason for it. And why so many sellers want to ignore that is beyond me. If you're serious about making more money on the platform, you're going to be diving into things like this. You got to. Otherwise, if you keep doing the same things over and over again that you've been doing the last 6 months to a year, you're probably going to end up with a lot of the same kind of success that you've had. And it's the sellers that are really serious enough about their business to take an extra hour a week, not a whole lot of time. You can take an extra hour a week and say, you know what, let's see what eBay thinks about my listings once this report comes back. Even looking at the other reports that eBay gives us, what's going on with my business? You got to be in tune with what's going on with your business. Otherwise, I mean, you're just winging it. And that's not being mean at all. That's just being real. I mean, even in my own business, someone like Tommy Bernard comes along and says, you know, you should be looking at this report. It opened my eyes. Maya says, John, I was thinking about it. If I choose to price match, what if they bought it from another seller and they end up with two? So then they return mine anyway. I'll just cancel. Well, if they buy it, I don't know why someone would want to buy two unless they're buying two to say, well, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm on the fence. I'm not sure which one I want to buy. Maybe I'll buy this one. Maybe I'll send an offer, cancel with an offer saying I want them to match this price, and then I'll return the one that's in worse condition, that type of thing. But I don't know if most of our buyers are they think that far ahead to do something like that. No One Design says, I'm trying to copy John's diet tribe. Well, I go on to one, but it's just because I'm very, very, what's the right word? I am very passionate about reselling, and I don't have all the answers, but I do have a lot of ideas. And I think there's a lot of folks out there that aren't willing for whatever reason, and I just don't know why, but aren't willing to do a lot of the things that I continually suggest and other channels suggest to do. And I think that many sellers would be better off for it if they were willing to put an hour or two a week into trying to figure out why their items aren't selling. Devon's here. Thanks for being here, Devon. Callie Debs is with us. Flipping ain't easy, John. Thanks for being here. Callie Debs says the Markdown Manager wasn't working for most of the day for me. It's up and running now, however. I know that they were changing something. When I logged in to my other account, it was saying we've changed the layout in how the Markdown Manager works, or the promotions tab works. So that might be why they might have had to take it offline to do whatever they're doing there. Maya says, is the video cutting in and out for everyone else or just me? Hopefully it's not. Let me know. I am up to here with this internet. I'm telling you right now. That's why I had to scrap the video that I spent an hour on to get where I wanted it. And then when I went to actually cut the video up and edit it, it was just bad. And I couldn't release it the way it was. So it's because my internet isn't uploading properly. I'm supposed to have like 500 megabits a second. That's what I'm paying for. And when I ran a speed test last night after doing that video, I was at like 10 megabits per second. That ain't going to work. So if it's doing it again, I'll be calling first thing in the morning to get this changed out. Grandma Mary's Attic says, thank you so much. Great advice, John. Yes, you're welcome. Hopefully it helps somebody. If I can help one person by coming out here and going live and they report, hey, I went on, did the research. I found that if I added these number of photos, or if I did this with my title, or if I just went and looked back to see that this item's selling for $50, but I have it priced for 70, you know, that's going to help people. And if that does help one person, then it was worth the time. No One Design says you can promote it slowly or quickly as much as you want. And it won't matter if that listing is not getting any views or traffic. This tells a story. It's saying get a better inventory. I say that a lot, Ken, and I get nailed for it in the comments. And really, I guess I just got to accept the fact there's going to be people that disagree with me. But there's a lot of people in denial. And it's easy to be in denial about having slow moving inventory if you have thousands upon thousands of items, thousands upon thousands of dollars invested into product. And now some guy is with an angel's hat is coming up here in front of me on my TV or my computer screen telling me, dude, you need to scrap all that. It's like, forget you. I spent too much money to listen to someone like you. And that's the stance they're going to take. I get it. I understand where it comes from. But take it from me. I've been there with bad stuff. And I've lived that life. And it's not an easy road to hoe when you're trying to make money for a living on the platform. And at some point, you have to come to the realization that this stuff ain't selling. And it's time to find something. There's things that sell. You just got to be willing to sell it. And you got to be willing to go out and get it. CM Retro Gaming says, do you have a lot of items that are under $5? People are hesitant to pay shipping on those items. I don't have really anything under $5. The lowest priced item I have, I think, is on my other store. It's a little neoprene sleeve that goes over a butt of a shotgun, and it holds like shotgun shells. And I sell that for $7.99 free shipping. And the only reason is I bought like 5 boxes of those for like $15. Each box has like 30 something items in it. It's one listing. So 30 some odd of those in each box, like 150 or whatever. I have really 2 listings that I've made. I did a 1-pack for $7.99, then a 2-pack for like $15.99. Free shipping. They're only like 2 ounces a piece. So it isn't a whole lot. $7.99 after fees is still a little bit over $7. Shipping's like $3 to $4. I'm still making, my cost is only like pennies on the dollar on each one. I'm still making a pretty good amount on that, and I don't have to do anything at all to the listing. JRKR says, Cali Debs, I wasn't able to start a new sale earlier in the day. I think it has everything to do with them changing the layout of that particular markdown manager. Grandma Mary's Attic says, since then I've sold 2. They're organic. I just didn't want to promote myself out of business. And you got to be careful. You got to be able to analyze what are you into the item for, then determine what is the lowest I'm willing to take on this and still make a profit. And it's just knowing your numbers that will allow you to get to that place. Maya says, my sales haven't been that bad, but I'm seriously considering quitting because I just can't cope with having all this stuff in my house anymore. We don't want to turn our house into a museum. Curious what you're selling, Maya. I know that you've talked about sales a lot on this channel and other channels. Curious exactly what you're selling. Would you be willing to sell on eBay if you sold something different? I know there's someone like Josh, for instance. If you said to him, hey, I can get you in touch with someone that's going to, hook you up with electronics, he would be like, no, I'm not selling electronics. I'm not into it. It's not his passion. I get it. A friend of mine called me. He's in the trucking industry. You guys know the story about this guy. They get loads that are rejected, and it's like they refuse it. It's like, well, then you need to do something with these loads. And a friend of his, also in the trucking industry, came across 2 truckloads of ceiling fans, all the same model, brand new, on the pallet, wanting $20 a unit for each of these things. Now, I have nowhere to store all these things. I mean, my friend's willing to help me with that on his end a little bit. But I told him, based on what I sell ceiling fans for, brand new, I don't care. Even if they have the light and everything set up on them, they're, have all the bells and whistles. I'm not interested in getting to that for more than $15 per unit. And that's based on what I buy my ceiling fans for out here locally. For some, that $20 is a steal. You could flip those things brand new, sealed brand new, not open box, but brand new for easily like $75 to $100 plus shipping. But, and that's just one listing. But for me, that's not going to work unless I have a place to put all these things. And I'm not going to go get a warehouse just for one SKU, even a storage unit. CM Retro Gaming says, I have items that are under $5, so they're now slow sellers. Even though my item is cheaper, people just can't get over the mental hurdle of paying $5 shipping on a $5 item. So why not, in the case, that's the reason why in my situation, that $7.99 item that I was telling you about, I don't have shipping. I just built it into the cost of the item. I know that, I think I actually have it for $8.99, and then I lower it to $7.99 when I send out offers. I think that's what it is. But that's because the shipping and my eBay fees are all built into that, and I think it's easier for the buyer. I think at a certain price point, it's good to have free shipping. It helps you in the algorithm. It's one of the points that eBay continues to make is, do you offer free shipping? So if it's a light item and if it's a low cost item, it's better to build your shipping into the just one price, free shipping, than it is to charge the same amount for shipping. Like you said, people have a hard time, like, oh, it's $5. Oh, there's another $5 for shipping. I'll pass. Maya says, I'm going to do a big closet clear out on Poshmark tomorrow, but I'm just at the end of my patience with inventory. We try to sell these hats. I have at least like 50 hats. They're not bad hats. Try to sell them at a yard sale. People walk by them. I had them at a low price on the other store. Nobody would buy them. So after talking to Bearded Picker, I'm thinking about doing a whatnot, and maybe some of these items that I think should sell, at least I thought would sell for me. Maybe someone would take them off my hands, maybe start it at a couple bucks and see if I can sell some of these, maybe in lots or whatever, just to move it and to give someone else an opportunity with it. Or maybe there's people out there that want more hats. Maya says, it's not just inventory in my house, but it's one of the main things contributing to clutter. And clutter, I got to tell you, is you want a lack of motivation. You want to be demotivated. Just throw a lot of things in my path. I get very, very like, I don't even want to do this. If I'm stepping over stuff, if I have so many things that I feel like I'm unorganized, I have to take a full day to reorganize things. Otherwise, my motivation's shot. Mike says, has anybody ever done the eBay Spotlight promo? 15% off is what they want to offer to buyers. Duration, May 28th to June 6th. Got a message yesterday acting like it's only for top performing sellers. It might be. I get emails for things on one account that I don't get on my main account. So my secondary account, like for instance, it wants me to put in for that $10,000 grant. I didn't get that email on my main account. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, why not? They're giving out, 50 grants? You have until like June to put in for it. You can do a Google search for that if that's something that you're interested in, and just tell your story. I'm a part-time seller, full-time seller. I'm going to really, try to grow my business this year, and this grant would help me. I think somebody out there could benefit for that. Josh Galt, he's one that could benefit from that. A surprise live. Yes, just thought, you know what? My idea of putting out a video today failed, and still got a lot I want to say. I still want to help people in their sales. So let's get out here and talk about it. Tommy Z says, source great selling items that you get for cheap. It's that easy. And it is that easy. But for some, I get, and this, of course, it always comes off the wrong way when I say it, but for some people, they limit themselves. So I want to buy this thing. I want to buy Stanley tape measures. I don't want to buy anything else. This is what I love. And then they kind of get stuck. They're buying things they have limited access to, and they find, because there's ways I can get more, but I got to really pay up to get it. And now it's even harder to sell rather than opening up. You know what? Maybe these tape measures aren't where it's at. Maybe I need to start selling scissors, and let eBay dictate what that is. And I think getting out of your own way as a seller and allowing the data to kind of drive what you're selling is so big for a lot of people, but you got to allow yourself to get to that point. And some people just won't. CM Retro Gaming says, how long do you guys wait before you consider an item dead inventory? If I've seen that thing on my shelf for months and months, I'll give you an example of one. I don't even know what to do with it. I paid $1 for this thing. It's brand new in the package. There was a couple sold comps at the time for over $200. and there's a few sellers on it that had it for $200. I'm like, okay, I'm going to undercut these guys. I'm going to be the first one to get the sale. I've got one that's brand new. It's a damn knee for a tractor. It's like an axle knee or something like that. It's like 20 pound. This is 20-pound L-shaped bar. It's like that big, and it's not really in my way. It's on my shelf. But I mean, what can I do? I mean, if I've already undercut the competition by like $75, I mean, it's not like I put it for 20, it's going to get a sale. I mean, if they need it, they're going to buy it at my price point, which is already undercutting the competition. So there's items like that. I mean, what do you do? I can't throw it on a whatnot auction. I mean, unless I'm in the out in the Midwest, I guess, where there's a bunch of farms. What is putting that out in a yard sale going to do? I could cut my losses and just say, throw it in the trash, which I might do. The only question I have for myself is, how much is that holding my store down? So if I have a bunch of non-selling items that have been sitting there forever, collectively, is that holding my store's sell-through rate down? And I have to consider that at some point. Mad Hatter's Boutique says, hey, Thursday Live, sales are great this week. Got invited to the top 15% off eBay sale at end of the month for being a top store. I was invited to the Pro Seller program. Nothing but great things to say. There you go. Brett, you're doing it. You're doing the right things. I'm proud of you, man. And keep going. I mean, I got to tell you, I haven't seen anything like that. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm blacklisted by eBay. They know my store. They'll never give me anything like that. But, you and Mike Gertis, you guys are invited to that thing. Do it. Take advantage of it, because you're going to get some extra promotion out of that for your store. So I would certainly do it. Maya says, it depends on the person, but for me, I sell clothing and would say more than 6 months before you get rid of merchandise. And see, Maya, right there. And I know you know enough to know that you are really in a high competition category with clothing. Anytime I buy clothing, I know that, this can sell. I know I've seen bolos, I've seen other things, but I do know that eventually this item is going to sell, but it may not sell overnight right away. And inherently, because of the type of items you're selling, clothing, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult to move those items. So, I hear you on that. Wish I had better advice. There's a lot of good clothing sellers out there who might be able to give you advice, but just wondering if you've ever maybe considered like maybe starting a second store, finding higher end, higher sell-through. And I hate to say higher end because you get high-end clothing items, but higher sell-through rate, less competition items to sort of continue selling your clothing, but maybe try a different type of item. Maya says some people sell long tail and they're okay waiting. Yeah, if it's not tying up your entire house, if you don't find yourself running out of room because you want to keep growing your store, you want to keep buying inventory, but you got to wait for some of these items to sell. For some, it's no big deal. They have storage units, they have extra rooms in their house. It's not a big deal. They can grow to thousands upon thousands of items. But for me, I find myself, look, I have 200 items in my main store. I have another 150 in my secondary. And due to the size of the items I'm selling, I'm running into space limitations. And I have my garage, I have 2 rooms and part of a den area that is designated for eBay already. I really don't have a lot of extra space for this stuff that I'm selling. So for someone like me, growing over 500 items would cause you see a lot of the merchandise behind me if I did that. Noah Design says, if you have a listing that has selling price under 5, you need an act of God to tell you to reevaluate your life decisions. I can tell you, Ken, that there's a lot of people who make really good money selling those small ticket items, but you have to sell in volume. And that's, to me, it's more customers you're dealing with, more questions, more transactions that you have to ship out and deal with. And I find that, listing 7 to 10 items a day on the main account and selling 4 to 6 items a day, at a $60 to $70 ASP before shipping is where it's at for me. Let's see what else we got here. Jennifer Hoffman says, "Nah, my items are fine. It's a continual jumping through eBay hoops. I'm just exhausted from it." So in being more specific, though, if we're talking about the eBay hoops, we're all dealing with the glitches. We're all dealing with the problems. But what hoops specifically do you find give you the biggest pain point that you have to deal with that's kind of making you feel that way? Vintage discoveries. What is this new thing I just saw come up on my eBay that someone made an offer on another seller's item that I have the same? So I put a video on it yesterday talking about how eBay now has given sellers an additional option. If a buyer wants to cancel your item and they found a better price as the reason, it'll give the buyer an option to say, you can ask the buyer or the seller to match that price. And if they decide to send you that price, you have the option to match what the buyer says that they saw. Because I don't believe, based on the verbiage that I've seen so far, I don't believe eBay is making that buyer purchase that second item. I think eBay is just telling the buyer to put that price in, sort of like we have to take their word for it. That's kind of what it is. Watch the video and you'll get more information on that. Maya says USPS is a hot mess right now. I agree with that. Maya says, luckily I haven't had anything lost, but many things taking up to 2 weeks to deliver. I have had to file one claim where I had to refund the guy. It was for like a little a swap cooler motor, brand new in the box. $70 gone. eBay made me refund it, and I just put in a claim today with USPS. Let's see. Maya says, I still don't think eBay is showing proper delivery dates. I've had items shipping to California Ground Advantage from East Coast, and eBay is estimating 2 days. That's never going to happen. If eBay is watching, you got to really revisit this. And eBay really needs to be in tune when they have all the data. They get a higher spike of INRs, item not receives, and the carrier is USPS. They got to know that there's something going on, and it could be a lot of the weather issues we've had lately. That these items are moving through the Midwest and they're getting stuck. Let's see. No Design says, question for John. What is the best inventory to get that costs nothing to buy and sell for $100K each? And if you know, please let me know. And there's a way to not pay for eBay fees. What you're asking for would have to be stolen, and you'd have to be using a burner account. I don't know. That's not a thing. The same retro gaming is I only with about 10% of what you say. That's fine. I mean, there's no need to actually agree with anything I say. I'm just offering you guys what I do, what I think, what works for me. Again, you're not dealing with some seller who sells an item every third day and says, "Hey, listen to me." I am selling a lot more items. My sell-through rate in my store for a 200 item store, I shouldn't be selling close to 500 items in a 90-day period for that size of a store, but yet I do. And I'm making $10,000 to $14,000 a month, depending. That's gross. I make about a 50% margin. 48%, I think, is where I'm at last time I checked. And that's not bad for that one store. My other store is about a little over $2,000. It's up from about $1,000. It's improving, and the goal is to get that up to over $5,000. And combined, it's not bad, guys. Tommy's here. Thought that maybe something happened. I was going to send out a search team for you. Kansas C, I knew he would not understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying to wing it or take data into consideration. I'm saying do not let it consume your time so much. And I'm not either. I'm saying, Ken, take an hour a week, and look at these reports. Look at your data, and just to see where you're at. And then over time, you're going to start getting a better feel for this information, and you're going to have a better feel for where you're at. And your sales are going to show because the more in tune you are with these numbers, the easier it is to act on this data. Semperfi, overall smaller sales for me as well, but up 6% overall sales this month compared to last month. That is awesome to see. Jenna saying happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Tommy says, I check it like once a month now, basically to make sure I'm not slipping in category rank, what the average promoted listings percentage is, percent of sellers that free ship, free returns, etc. And there's a lot of data there, and it will really open your eyes. The first thing I thought is like, wow, eBay thought that this information to showing me a rank of all these different things was important enough to show me. That means they're considering this. They are considering this when they're ranking my item versus someone else who is utilizing this. And then we wonder, well, why are they able to make the sale on the same thing? I think my listing looks better, but they're able to make a sale. It's because they're checking off more of the boxes that eBay wants us to check off. Mad Hatters is baby update. We had our detailed scan. Baby is growing perfect. Nose, lips, fingers, toes, heart, brain. Doctor said he is perfect and on track. Best news we could get this morning. Well, congratulations. That's awesome to hear. Love hearing that. Josh says I have dropped in my listing quality report in every category since the last report. Tommy says, to Mad Hatter, don't believe the perfect nose scan. They told my parents the same thing. They would have aborted me if the docs were truthful about my schnoz. I almost said the other thing. Sorry. Maybe that's the truth about that as well. Maya says, dude, back when the scans hardly showed anything, even mine looked like nothing. Tommy says, not skipping here. Make sure playback speed is on normal. Mine defaults to 1.25, and it makes live skip. Yeah, I like to listen to myself at 1.25 much more than I like listening to myself at 0.75. I sound drunk when you do that. Getting past the baby scans here. Thomas says, Josh, I've dropped drastically. 3 weeks vacation this year so far. I'm convinced my wife is trying to make me get a 9 to 5 so her boyfriend can come over. We have Catherine Cathcart says, I've had an offer from someone whose address was 50,000 CN, been on eBay since March 24. I declined their offer twice because their weird address. eBay let them register. I mean, my thing is, if you're shipping it to the buyer and you ship it to that address internationally, I think you're going to be fine. Hopefully you're using the international shipping program, but you wouldn't receive that buyer's address if you were. You'd receive eBay's information. But I would, unless it's a high dollar item, I don't think I'd pass the sale up. Maya says, I wouldn't be against switching categories, but I have way too much stuff in my house right now, not just inventory. Getting more stuff and trying to list it would just send me over the edge. What about, Maya, doing a whatnot? Maybe bundling the same size, same style, and just trying to do a whatnot. And I know that the biggest hurdle is the following, but we have a community. You can, on one of the lives say, hey guys, I'm going to do a whatnot in an hour. If you guys want to support me, come check out. I'd be all for that if you wanted to do that. Tommy says, if you're in eBay International, no need to be scared of Chinese addresses. I agree with that. Larry Way Out says, I enjoy living in my museum. Someday I'll sell some of the good stuff once I don't have a death pile. But from what I understand, Larry, you're doing quite fine with that death pile. So keep doing what you're doing. Gonna get off of here pretty soon. TreeCat says, hey, FAE, thanks for being here. Just a programming note, TreeCat's going to have a live stream an hour before our show tomorrow. So 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern, they're going to have a live, and they're going to kind of discuss a new implementation or a new spin-off of the delist, relist, what I call end item sell similar, that schedule feature. And so it's something that you're going to want to check out if you're interested. Joseph Smo says, I've been trying to sell a taxidermy of my late dog Sparky. They won't let me. Any tips on listing this item? Why would you want to list that? I think, Sparky was there with you. He kind of, he was your ride or die, man. Why would you do that to Sparky? But if you're hell-bent on doing that to Sparky, I would say Mercari, maybe even Etsy, because it's a one-of-a-kind item. Again, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't do that to Sparky. Larry Todd's with us. Says, howdy. Thanks for being here, Larry Todd. Josh says, if you're looking for Pewter Christmas figurines. I'm your guy. Sure, you got a lot. Solstice Manshire says, just got a huge order delivered. I got 8 pinball machines, all Kiss themed. Spent about $7K. Crazy stuff. My wife is pissed. We're in a studio in New York. Yeah, if you have limited space, you've turned your studio into an arcade. But hopefully you're trying to move that stuff. Find a storage unit. Joseph, I'm a full-time seller. I only sell taxidermy versions of my late pets. Well, you won't have a lot of inventory, I hope. Major Win says, do you have a link to the grant program? I can get that for you. And thank you for the super chat. Just letting you know you're appreciated. Well, I appreciate that. Look, I appreciate you guys. You know, it's one of those things where you can ask Jenna, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get on here and just see who pops up on the live and we can just talk about it. But eBay grants 2024. It's easier probably for you to do a Google search. Just type in eBay grants 2024. And the first link that pops up is from Hello Alice. That's who runs this for them. And it's the eBay up and running grant. And that's where you want to start out. I know that Rockstar Flipper did a video about that about 3 weeks ago. And I should have had my application in a while. I just kind of put it on the back burner. PG's with us. Thanks for being here. And Rocco Sacco, I've been looking for uranium dishes lately. It's hard to find them, though. I know that someone like Josh would know a lot more about that type of thing than I do, but there are people who work in these thrift stores that know to look for those, and they'll pull them for their own purchase. And Joe Schmo, I don't buy your store anymore, sir. I was buying it because the old dude that was in the avatar, but gonna have to say goodbye, sir. Joe is now no mo. Joe Schmo and his dog Sparky. Tommy says, I get that spotlight discount every year. I forgot to do it last year, but it's well worth it in previous years. Do it. Anytime eBay contacts you, either to, hey, we're going to give you $100 in free ad spend, or we want you to be part of this promote, do it. They're going to push your items more than they would if you didn't. Solstice says, I used to sell on eBay, but I actually sent a shipment of GNS to New Hampshire instead of Mexico. Rough. That's interesting. Kind of trying to blow through here a little bit because I need to get ready to go here. I kind of went a little bit further than I wanted to. Thomas says, Mike, it seems, in my opinion only, no data. They rotate stores that accept the invitation through the recommended sellers, and your store is shown more to buyers who search that inventory. I agree, and I would do that 100%. I would be already signed up if they said that to me. Diamond Roy says, started reselling in October last year and made my first 1K sale last week. There you go. 1K sales are fine. They're nice. They're hard to replicate. And I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of these channels that just go out and say, oh, you know, I found this great item, this shiny item I sold for $1,000. It makes people think that it's easy. And you've been selling since October, and your first $1,000 item you just found to sell. It's about the grind. It's incorporating those big sales and having those big sale days offset slower days. Maya says, Beard, I tried 3 times to comment on the podcast, but I kept getting removed. But I was trying to tell you how to fix that tracking number glitch on eBay. I'm not removing you. I don't know why you'd be removed. So I'll have to go back and check and see what's going on with that. Beard's having a moist evening, so thanks for being here. We had 3 tornadoes and flooding rains last night, moist everywhere. I'm sure you're very excited by that. Ken says, I think I have to rewatch this live because I haven't been listening to John for that past 30 minutes. Sorry, John. Am I just rambling? Hope I'm not, because I kind of went over, but I feel like I want to get to some key comments if I can. Ping G says, I'm receiving Ground Advantage packages from Pensacola to Anaheim in 2 days. So you've lucked out there a little bit, I think. Let's see. The Golf Exchange says, hello, just checking since there are a lot of experienced sellers in here. Got an email invite from eBay and wasn't sure if it was something meaningful or just a usual fluff new to me. Take it. You're invited. Let us feature eBay store. Please do that. Please accept the invite because it's going to give you a boost to your store, I think, better than where it's at right now. Even if you're doing great, take it. Brian Lee says, slow sales are going to keep getting worse for everyone. No one will be spared. You know what? I tend to agree that I think you continued here. This isn't scare tactics. This is just inflation. If you don't understand what's about to happen with banks, it's time to get informed. And everyone should have that in the back of their mind, that things seem fine right now, but I keep watching these things on YouTube where they're putting out warnings about housing market. And, we've been hearing it for years, right? But there's things, indicators that are happening in the economy that I think, since we're in the retail sector, each and every one of us, we should all be privy to the possibilities and, have a nest egg if you can. I know there's a lot of you guys that are struggling that don't have the means to put money away. I'm thankful that I do have money put away for, a rough 2, 3, 4 months. And I'm continually pushing to add more if I can. So that's always, I don't think it's a scare tactic. I think it's something that people need to be aware of the possibility so that they can maybe put off, we're going to a $500 show tonight. This is a one-off thing, guys. We never go out. And it's one of those things where I figure, you know what, let's just go out, enjoy our company. Because that's another thing. We can work ourselves to death, but it's the little moments that you create for yourselves that if you don't create, you're never going to get that time back. And it's the memories, right? So that's kind of why I'm doing it, and I'm fine with it. Normally, I would be like, $500, get the hell out of here. But for me, we haven't gone somewhere nice in a while, and a nice show. We've gone to crappy shows, but a really good one. And it's something that I think we're going to enjoy. Beard says, I'm requesting a Friday Night Live show with John being high. That would destroy the internet. I think I did get a contact at the poker game at down in Arizona. I thought I could either leave or I can keep making money, and I stayed and made money. Josh is just wondering if maybe Armageddon can hold off until I can afford a place in the Sierra Nevadas. Yeah, start working towards it now, I tell you. Major Wins is behind on the video, so sorry it's late, but thank you for the grant info. No, you're welcome. Just do a Google search, and you'll find the same result that I was able to find. eBay Grants 2024. It's the Hello Alice website. So that's kind of where we're at. We'll end it there. Hopefully, something I mentioned will give someone an idea as to something different. It's all about this. You're always going to find things that you can do, but if you kind of keep yourself to within the same habits and never venture out to try something new, you're never going to know until you try it. And if that means doing an hour of research, and like Ken was saying, don't get yourself wrapped up into like the mundane numbers, and that's time spent growing your store and fixing listings. What I'm saying is take 1 hour, run that report, look at your other reports, look at your summary report, see how your sales are. They going up, they're going down. Look at your listings quality report. And at first it's going to look like just a lot of garble, right? But every week, 1 hour, just get into the data and don't allow yourself to go beyond 1 hour. And by about the first month of it, you're going to become more familiar. And some of these things, as you start incorporating these changes, you're going to see, wow, things are changing, and it hopefully will be changing for the better. So that's all I got, guys. But I just want to thank you for dropping in on the last minute live. We had a lot of folks that dropped in. Thank you for stopping what you're doing. I'm sure you had plenty of other things to do on a Thursday night. But the fact that you decided to hang out with me here and discuss this with me is awesome, and I really appreciate that. So tune in to the live tomorrow. Just be me. I might have another guest on there with me. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a great rest of your day. Take care.